Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?
Don't touch me.
Hi guys, it's Anna Slatz and I'm here in Washington, D.C. where I have been covering the George Floyd protests and Antifa riots for Rebel News. I just wanted to go over some of my thoughts because last night was the first night I was here on the ground and it was crazy, to say the least. But when the night started, it was very peaceful. And I have been trying to focus on why such a peaceful, coherent, considerate demonstration of anger devolved into violence and destruction and fires and smashed windows and businesses being looted. And I want to say that that occurred, that transition from peace to chaos occurred when a largely white group of Antifa protesters began to call the shots in the demonstration. Around 6 p.m., when the Black Lives Matter protesters were marching on the Capitol, it was all very peaceful. It was very well put together. People were being taken care of, given food, given water, given medical treatment if they needed it. And the air was positive. It was upbeat. It was people expressing themselves in the democratic way that they have the ability to express themselves, that they have the right to express themselves. And that is through a peaceful demonstration, a peaceful protest, expressing their anger at the treatment of African Americans in the United States. It was not until 10 p.m. that things started to devolve into chaos, and that is when the Antifa protesters showed up and they began setting fires. They began burning buildings. They began defacing war memorials. I'm actually just outside of one right now that's being taken care of by the police. There was such a distinct difference between the approaches of Black Lives Matter and Antifa that much of it I caught right on film, people being told by the Black Lives Matter protesters, stop throwing things at the police, stop interacting with the police. This is going to lead to more violence. This is going to lead to more innocent people getting hurt. And of course that would disproportionately impact the African Americans that were in the protest. The white Antifa protesters continued and persisted to destroy, to throw bottles at the police, to throw bottles at the police cars, to throw rocks and stones. And it was an escalation, a very steady escalation. The police began to respond with more and more violence of their own. More flash grenades, more pepper spray, more batons, and even someone got a rubber bullet. He was standing right next to me and he got hit with a rubber bullet. I want you to take a look at the footage and I want you to ask yourself if you can see the difference between the approaches of Black Lives Matter, who were out there protesting the wrongful death of George Floyd, and the approach of Antifa, who were destroying needlessly, who were not listening to the Black Lives Matter protesters who were meant to be leading the demonstration, and who were just causing chaos for absolutely no reason. The general sentiment here in Washington, D.C. is that these protests are going to continue. You can see to both sides of me behind me that there are businesses that are putting plywood up. They are covering their windows, they're covering their doors, because the general sense here is that it's going to escalate. The riots are going to escalate in the same way that they did in Oakland, in Atlanta, and in Minneapolis. I'm going to be on the ground tonight, just like last night, bringing you coverage right from the front lines. This has been Anna Slatz reporting live from Washington, D.C. for Rebel News. If you enjoyed this video and if you enjoyed my coverage here from Washington, D.C., you can go to stopantifa.com to donate to my travel expenses. Please also like and subscribe to Rebel News on YouTube. Thank you.